And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside FT off. Bring in FT off. It's orange!
45. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Look at that. Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
If the methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? We don't need any more of these.
Good morning, everybody. You are looking at a live view of not only SpaceX's Starship launch mount for Launch Complex 39A, but we've got double rollout action this morning on the Space Coast. We've got a live look at ULA's Atlas V as it rolls out for the Viasat launch later on this week. So we've got two things to keep an eye on. I'm sure most of you have come for one of them, but we'll show you both of them either way. My name's Ryan Caton. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and alongside me to take you through maybe the next hour or so as we watch this huge monolithic launch mount roll down the road, we have got Alex joining me on commentary. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing fantastic. It is another major milestone for Starship at the Cape, and I cannot wait until we see that monster rocket launching from a historic launch site as 39A.
Yeah, it is going to be a scale literally never seen before, or not seen for a very long time at the Space Coast at least. We also, of course, have two amazing people out in the field bringing us live views. Let's go first and see if the audio communications work. Let's start with D Wise. D, are you with us?
I don't know. How do you hear me?
Got you 5x5, loud and clear. Do you have visual? I'm not sure which camera this is. Do you have visual on the mount yet?
So yes, I do. We just saw it go right to the intersection. I can see the Stack Me Heart on the OLM currently, and it's making its way towards us right now. We're watching the road sort of be cleared to make way for this mount, because this is an active spaceport after all. And while it's not a public highway quite like it is down in Starbase, there is a lot of traffic and a lot of work that goes on here.
We can see there the police officer doing some hand gestures on Max's camera. Of course, we also have Mr. Max Evans out in the field. I'll see if I get an unmute sign or not from Max, but I did.
Hello, Ryan.
I do. Hello, Max.
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting. How are things looking from your position, Max? Because I know you and D have kind of split positions, so we get the most optimal viewing conditions possible.
Yeah, so we're at two different spots right now. We are actively watching out for KSC security, trying to clear traffic for this absolutely just behemoth piece of metal that's heading towards LC-39A. But honestly, this is a pretty special day because we haven't had really a milestone like this in the Starship program for Florida in about 3 years. This is the first major piece of hardware rolling out towards the pad. I think since the chopsticks back in the early days of 2021 or 2022. So, no, sorry, 2023. Either way, it is incredibly exciting. We are all very, very happy to be here, and things are only going to get crazier from here because, like Dee was saying, this is a very active spaceport, and we also during work hours as well.
Indeed, and of course, if you've been watching our Space Coast flyovers for the last God knows how many months at this point, we've been seeing this mount get built up over time. We've been seeing the work being done at Launch Complex 39A to prepare for the first Starship launch from there. SpaceX originally said at the end of this year, but that's not looking very likely, unfortunately, anymore. But definitely next year is in for a shot of the first Starship launch from that pad. We know they're going to be barging over the vehicles from Starbase on a new vessel that they are currently working on. And we can see then NASA security
Hmm.
getting people out of the way as they work on rolling this mount down the road.
Looks interesting to me that suddenly there's a lot of people down there waiting in front of, like, this is the area next to the vehicle assembly building at the Kennedy Space Center. So it's very coincidental, that all of them had to go out.
Yeah. And of course, this is an NSF live stream. We have the panel, we have all of your questions coming in. So as we watch the OLM roll past for the next however many duration period of time it takes, we'll be answering your questions, of course. So tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight at NSF, and we'll bring them into the queue and try and answer as many of your questions as we can. But Alex, I'm just wondering, as we see this launch mount up close for the very first time, are there any observations you have on the state of the mount? Any comparisons we have to the state of the mount that we saw at Starbase? Because, of course, the Starbase Pad 2 launch mount only rolled out a few months ago.
Yeah, that was almost 6 months ago. So you could say they are a little bit like sort of 6 months behind. But this one in particular is actually more advanced than the one that when they rolled the one for Pad 2 at Starbase, it had a lot of things missing that this launch mount does have on this rollout. For example, things like the manifolds, all 4 manifolds for the top deck. One of the big differences for the new design of the launch pad for Starship is that the launch mount itself will have water coming out from the top, meaning you will not need heavy sort of refurbishment between flights, because the top will not get as roasted between launches and things like that. So it's got all of those tubes. You can see there's like 2 other faces here of that launch mount, looking at this camera view. So you can see 2 of those sort of manifolds. There's also even one of the feed lines for that manifold as well. This will be, if you were to look at this from sort of where it will be on the launch site, this will be the south face at 39A. So at 39A, this launch mount you will be on the south side of the launch pad in this area. For those that remember when they rolled out Pad 2's launch mount, they also had the Stack Me sign, right? That has not changed. That one has seen a lot, and it was also on the same side of the launch mount. So like from this perspective, the launch tower will be sort of to the left of the view if you were to look at it as installed on the pad. But yeah, there's a lot more hardware now installed also for the quick disconnect umbilicals and things like that. They have a bunch of the connections already in place, so that they just have to put some of these there. They have also the hood as well, like the back cover, the bottom cover of the methane booster quick disconnect, for example. It's already installed. So they have a lot of things already pre-installed that were not there on Pad 2's launch mount when it rolled. So lots of progress in that sense.
And we're seeing some of the vehicles continue to be cleared out of the way of the launch mount as it rolls down the road. We can see there the the comically small oversized load sign on front of the truck with the 2 flags. Like, is that some kind of legal requirement? Is there a regulation that requires them to have an oversized load sign on the truck at the front? Like, is that not obvious enough already from the fact that the launch mount is literally wider than the road itself? I don't know. I find that hilarious. Like, oh no, look out, oversized load. Is it not obvious? Anyways. We have got a wonderful queue of questions already, which I'm going to try and run through as we have these awesome close-up views of the Launch Complex 39A launch mount for Starship. First of all, Alex, I'll toss this to you. Space Gnome is asking, is the crane ready? And by the looks of the Starbase update, which released last night, I believe it is.
Yeah, it is. It is out there at 39A. In fact, we think we may have seen this morning some kind of rehearsal of the lift procedure this morning. They were sort of moving it around and things like that with that load spreader that you can see, the LR 13000 crane already prepared to have that lift. If you remind, if you remember from May when they lifted the Pad 2 launch mount, that was done with 2 cranes, but they were smaller cranes. There were LR 11,000 cranes, which are a little bit smaller and less capable. This one is huge. It's literally, I think it is the world's most powerful conventional crawler crane. I think it's the whole mouthful as to how much powerful it is. It is essentially one of the largest, if not the largest, of the crawler cranes out there in the world, and it can lift the entire thing on one go. So yeah, it could be about 1,100 tons. This thing when it lifts, at least the one at Pad 2 was close to 1,000 tons. It's got a bit more hardware installed than that one, so it should be probably about 100 tons heavier maybe than the one before. But yeah.
Oh my goodness. So in the 2 minutes since I was finding the oversized load sign quite funny, our own Carson has apparently gone to Cornell and got a degree in law, because he's come back to me by telling me that in Florida you must display the oversized load signs on a yellow background with black letters for loads over 10 feet wide, 14 feet 6 inches high, or 80 feet long. Red or orange flags at least 18 inches square are required for all 4 corners, and protrusions or overhangs. Yeah. I still think the truck is a bit redundant considering the size of the launch mount, but
you should put it on the SBMTs. I mean,
yeah, I mean that would be more precise, I would guess, more accurate.
Wow.
Anyways, I think we should probably send this question to Jack, because Logan Drums is asking how many pounds of bacon could fit into this OLM. I'm not sure. Do we know the weight? Do we know like what mass the mount is rated for? Like how heavy can a Starship be? Because I guess it would be that, but in bacon.
It's a lot. How many
Yeah,
pounds? I mean, just convert. Yeah, I was talking about it in metric tons, so I guess you have to sort of make it double, something like that. I don't know, maybe 2,000, 3,000. Or like, no, 2 million, 3 million pounds or something like that will be the way to talk about it. I have no idea. I will have to Google it.
That's a lot of bacon.
I'm a metric boy, so yeah. Yeah,
And
2.5 million pounds.
There we go. And we've got a little bit of support very quickly. Thank you to Eastern Shore Spaceflight, who's become a Capcom member. That now means you get access to the Discord server. You see behind the scenes and chat with your fellow space fans, and yeah, do a lot of cool stuff in there. We always hang out down in there. And we have a Squid King who is saying with a €5 super chat, thank you very much, is saying that Atlas V will be your first in-person launch. Well, that's lucky for an Atlas V, because you get that awesome SRB plume. Is everything looking good ahead of liftoff? And D, I believe everything is looking good for that Atlas V. I'm not sure if we can bring up the live view, but the Atlas V is continuing to roll out right now at the same time as the launch mount.
Yeah, so if I turn around, it looks like it's roughly halfway to Slick 41, and the launch mount's getting closer. There are people gathered out on top of buildings around here, sort of watching these rollouts. It's a really cool sign of just how busy things are getting in the space industry, that we have a rocket rolling out to a pad. We've got a new launch pad itself rolling out. I just see a Cybertruck pulled out onto the road between some of the initial trucks and the OLM there. But yeah, the OLM's making its way here.
I mean, just to add on to this, we've seen strange moves at Port Canaveral. Let's put it this way. There might even be a certain fleet going out for a certain big rocket that may be launching soon. So yeah, everything happening at the same time.
We have Austria, sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly, but they're asking if there are any signs of the Slick 37 launch mount construction underway. Alex, I believe they kind of only have one workstation for this, as we've seen in the flyovers. They have kind of like that tent structure. So have we seen anything for the Slick 37 launch mount just yet, or not?
We haven't seen it yet. As you said, they only have one place to do this, right? But we might be close. Like now that it's no longer there, we'll keep an eye on what they build, because I'm sure they're gonna be trying and getting that OLM for 37, starting very very soon. We have already seen that launch tower for 37, right? They already had, at least as of the time of our last flyover, they had 7 of the modules already built for that tower. So we are probably gonna see that OLM also coming up soon.
Indeed.
Also, can I throw a oh, there we go. Haha, thank you, Jay. Yeah, that's from our last flyover. That was a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. And there you can see 7 of the 9 modules that will make up the launch tower, one of the launch towers at 37. And then to the right is the launch mount that we can see live rolling out to 39A. But I will say, though, because I'm one of the things that we also mentioned recently, I think it was on a Starbase update, not on the flyover, was that on official documentation, the launch mount for 39A, it's called Orbital Launch Mount 3. That thing that you see there, it's officially Orbital Launch Mount 3. Do with that what you want.
Yeah, I'm going to reject your reality and propose my own. We're just going to call it the Launch Complex 39A Launch Mount. But first of all, oh my goodness, what a shot here.
They stopped here.
Wide angle lens, and this is just like incredible because it makes it almost look like it's bigger than the VAB from this perspective. But yeah, I mean, this is just spectacularly large. Yeah. I feel like the exterior of the mount kind of doesn't do it justice because it kind of looks like this boring rectangle, cuboid, just sat on some SPMTs. But inside, I mean, there's a lot of, you can see one of the pipes just sticking out the side there. There is a lot of stuff going on inside of that mount to make it, much more beefy, structurally integral compared to the original design that they're now cutting apart at Starbase. And of course, they want to be able to turn these things around super quickly so they can get a high launch cadence, especially with missions which require lots of tankers and refilling. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
I wonder, just thinking out loud here, did they stop here on purpose? Not for us to see, but for others to see. Do you see that logo on the background on the VAB?
Artemis.
Yeah, right. I wonder if it's been relevant lately regarding Starship.
Wonder if there'll be a little cheeky tweet later with rolling out our launch mount to prepare for Artemis,
Maybe. We'll see. But it could be.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, so now that it's stopped, I should mention one thing. So on the left-hand side, you might see that the pipe, the big water pipe, it's sort of like it's got a notch there, like a little kink or something like that there. That is on purpose. And by the way, it's moving now again. They have already done their photos, I guess. That is on purpose so that the aft flaps on the ship don't hit the manifolds when they lift the ships, because this view, this angle, this location will be where the ships and boosters will be lifted from their transport stands and be placed on the launch mount. But yeah, look at that. Wow.
That's really cool. I know he's literally moving the camera right now, but I'd be really interested to get Max's reaction to this right now, because this is actually Max's camera, and Max is standing like, I don't know, literally a few meters away from the launch mount, because this thing is absolutely huge. I mean, it's just incredible.
Absolute unit.
Yeah, I mean, it's taller than the streetlight. It's bigger than the streetlight. Wow.
And of course, Cybertrucks. That's how you know this is SpaceX.
Yeah. They've been receiving many deliveries of Cybertrucks across all of their locations. We've seen them at Starbase, we've seen them at Florida, we've seen them, I think we've seen them at McGregor as well. I mean, there's so many. I think someone must have just put in a bulk order one night because there are so many Cybertrucks at all of the SpaceX locations now. But what else would you expect, right? It's a company car, so. Wow. Just look at that.
They probably have all of them. I was gonna make the joke that probably a lot of these people have their their break for lunch or breakfast, I guess, because it's 11.
Look at that.
Look at that. Hey, there's the kink there in the manifold. It's just funny to me. And that's one
Yeah.
of the covers for the quick disconnect. That's where a lot of the pipes for the methane side of the booster will come in. And that's one of the booster quick disconnects will sort of, go up and crap over the launch mount.
Looks like they've stopped again, but yeah. I wonder if they're just trying to clear the road a little bit more, perhaps? I'm not sure. But everyone is certainly going to be getting lots of pictures of this thing rolling out. And it looks like they've got triple SPMTs there, 3 in a
Yep.
row.
Yeah, just
they're
like
using
the-
to roll out.
Yeah, exactly the same way that they did the Pad 2 rollout. A lot of people are asking whether the stack me sign is the exact same. I don't know about exact same down to the molecule level, but the one in Pad 2 was removed a while ago, like a month or so ago. So I would bet that it's probably the same. That was placed on the Tower 2 modules when it was being built at Roberts Road, and then it was rolled out to Starbase, or rather barged to Starbase with a stack me sign. Then they put it on the Pad 2 launch mount, and then removed a month ago. So they probably put the same stack me sign here.
Yeah.
In that case.
Finally returned to Florida. Look at that go. I mean, like, they're really
Kevin.
picking up pace now. It's huge.
Yeah. Look at that. Big massive cube there on the side of the bigger cube.
Okay, I feel like we've gotten a little bit more support, so I should go through this. First of all, Flippers79 McGregor, thank you very much, literally part of the team, for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. If you receive one of them, make sure to thank them in chat. We've got Mr. Fluffy with a $5 super chat saying, sitting in Los Angeles, the best coast since Sawyer is sleeping, waiting for Vandenberg launches. All I need is a bacon bagel. I disagree that the US West Coast is the best coast. The best coast actually isn't in the US, just saying. Alfred has become a Red Team member. Thank you very much for that. And Kevin Michael Reed, I have no idea who that is saying, should it be called Orbital Launch Mount? It hasn't launched anything to Orbital yet. Maybe Orbital is added to the name after it does an orbital launch. I think we should just call it a launch mount. I just call it a launch mount. You know, I always found the OLM acronym a little bit silly, but yeah, I mean, it's just a launch mount. Is it a platform? Can we call it the launch platform? Because NASA calls theirs the launch platform. They call it the mobile launch platform. Remember when everyone thought the launch mount was going to be mobile? Hey, look how that turned out. Anyways,
I didn't think I didn't think that. So just saying.
Yeah, I didn't think that either, but you know, for the record.
The most that I said was like, there are these two theories. I have no idea whether it will be one or the other. I'm more angled towards fixed launch mount.
Oh, apparently there's a goal in chat now saying, remember Ryan at the end of Starship Flight 10? Yeah, that was really funny where we were going to end the stream and we had to keep going for like another half an hour because people kept doing the support and I had to read them out because, you know, we obviously have to read out all of the support. That was really fun.
It's so weird. Like, I've seen this at Starbase, but the VAB is there. This is not Starbase. This is Kennedy. What is going
It's the
on?
wrong coast.
Yeah, right? It's not. It's also not a Gulf. It's a Cape. It's the opposite.
Look at this go. I mean, we've got the VAB in the background. We've got the SLS Mobile Launcher 2 in the background. And we've got the Starship Launch Mount just crawling past. And by crawling, I mean, like, this is... I don't know what the exact speed... I don't think any of our team have a radar gun to try and get the speed of the SPMGs as they roll past. But, I mean, this is pretty speedy for something that is ginormous.
That was so unbelievably cool.
It's gonna get even cooler when you get a launch out of there.
I think where is that D we can see in the at the bottom of the frame there, just above the ticker? Yes, it is. Hello, D.
I see some blonde hair.
Nice wave from D. Look at it go. I mean, I am just flabbergasted by the sheer scale of this thing because, you know, well, of course we saw the one at Starbase roll down the road, but we're used to seeing huge things roll down the highway at Starbase now with the ships and the boosters. So imagine what it's going to be like seeing a ship and a booster roll. Because Alex, I'm sure this is going to be the same route if they're going to be preparing them at Roberts Road and then rolling them out to Launch Complex 39. This is just going to be spectacular.
Yeah, we're gonna see boosters and ships rolling by and going to 39A and launching from 39A. It's gonna be so cool. I think we're, you know, based on the timelines, because right now at Starbase we're seeing Pad 2 almost fully closed out. It's very, very close, like just single-digit weeks away from being fully operational is my thought here. So I think if this is roughly 5 to 6 months behind, right? That maybe around later in the springtime of 2026, then that's when 39A will be also fully active. And then you know, with the launchpad active, they just need the vehicle. They just need a booster to roll out and be barged from Starbase out to Florida on the "You'll Thank Me Later" barge, right? And also a ship. And once they got that, they'll be able to launch out of 39A. So I think perhaps a launch in the summertime might be doable next year.
Do you? Sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. They're asking if we can have a stack me sign emoji. I'll have to see about that. See if we got a good picture of the stack me sign. And we have Stephen Lewis asking if they'll be launching the Starlink version 3 satellites from Florida, and they're also asking where they are made. Alex, do we know where they're made? Are they built in the same place as the other Starlink satellites, or have they got their own kind of factory for that?
Yeah, that's at Redmond in Washington State. That's a long ways to go, but you know, it's where a lot of their knowledge about, you know, making satellites and whatnot is. So yeah, that's essentially where they are made. They did recently, I think it was on the Flight 10 or Flight 11 coverage, where they showed a view of some of their facilities there, of, like, you know, the production of satellites and whatnot. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. And then they have the terminals. The factory for the terminals is at Bastrop in Texas. So they have sort of, you know, a bit of a split production there. One for satellites, another one for the user terminals.
Of course. And we should also, of course, take another quick look at Atlas V, because we have 2 rollouts rolling on a roll on the Florida Space Coast. We have the 39A Launch Mount, which is just about to eclipse 39B. And on the right there, of course, Atlas V, nearly in its slot at the launch pad. They kind of roll it to the gate and then they kind of scoot it in a little bit on its little railway there. But there you go, Atlas V. With the Viasat payload on top is nearly at the launch pad, ready to be all hooked up there ahead of its launch, which will be coming up tomorrow evening, if I am not mistaken. And Atlas V 551 with the Viasat 3 F2 mission.
It's ironic that we're seeing a 39A launch mount with 39B in the background there. That's where SLS launches from.
I mean, the last time we saw a launch mount rolling was the mobile launcher rolling back from 39B all the way to the vehicle assembly building so they could stack the SLS rocket for Artemis 2, which is fully stacked right now, by the way. It's a shame we can't see into the VAB, because if we had X-ray vision, there would literally be a fully stacked Mega Moon rocket on Space Coast Live 24/7, which would be absolutely bonkers.
Yep. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, you know, with SLS and whatever, but it's there, it's stacked, and we'll see if it launches in February.
We've got some very interesting questions here. They're saying we have Mr. Bozo here asking if the new mount looks a lot more completed compared to Starbase, and if it is, would this shorten the amount of time to get Launch Complex 39A ready? And Alex, we were saying at the start of the stream, as it kind of came around the corner there, this looks a lot more cleaned out than the launch mount did look like at Starbase when it rolled out. So is there potential that they'll be able to get 39A completed, quicker than they have been able to get the second pad completed at Starbase, maybe?
So that question, obviously, I could probably go on a 20-minute rant here about that because it's complicated, right? 39A doesn't have a fully outfitted tank farm. For example, when Pad 2 was started, they already had a lot of the ground systems on the tank farm and things like that for the pad. So it was a lot easier in that sense. But they already have a tower, although the tower needs modifications. So like it's a bit of a back and forth. I think given that they've kept more or less to a 5 to 6 month sort of being behind compared to Pad 2 on most of the major builds, I think it's still not going to change that much. Like it's probably just going to keep about the same amount of time, precisely because there's all the things that, whereas, the launch mount is further ahead, right? But there are all the things that are way behind compared to Pad 2 when it was at this stage of construction. So I think it's probably going to compensate and eventually it's going to take about the same amount of time.
And we can see it there now. Nearly, this is a partial eclipse now of Launch Complex 39B of the lightning protection system there as the mount continues to make its way down the crawlerway. Now, it's not on the crawlerway proper. There is kind of a road that runs that moves alongside the crawlerway. On Google Maps, it's called the Saturn Causeway, but it's also called the Crawlerway Way. Because it's a road, so it's got to end. It's got to end in a suffix, so it's called Crawlerway Way, which I find, quite funny. But yeah, looks like it's going to go behind those bleachers there, which are used to watch launches.
Yep.
I think. Well, what else would you watch? The wildlife? I don't know.
Yeah, it still has it still probably has like a good hour and a half to get to 39A. So it's going to take a while.
Yeah. But of course, we have our cameras on the ground. We have there we go. There's one of them, our long-range bot cameras. So we'll stick with it for as long as we can. Let's run through here. We've got a little bit more support. I've got a tip here, Max, from I'd Rather Be Flying an X-Wing, saying, Max, please tell me you went as Yukon Cornelius for Halloween. I'll see if we can get a response from Max. I don't know if here he is.
I don't want to bear any. I don't want to let you down, but I didn't even dress up for Halloween. Number one, unfortunately, and number two, I'm not even sure who that is. Maybe I'm just uncultured.
Hang on, I'll get you. I'll find you a picture on the internet. And
it's a pretty accurate description, I have to say, and it brings me back to the classic stop motion cartoons. Like that was a big part of my childhood, watching those.
Okay, I've just sent the picture to Max. Let's stand by for his reaction.
Oh my god, that is perfect. Maybe that's an idea for next year, perhaps.
There we go. Write it down. Put it in your calendar.
Don't hold me to it.
We also
have...
Oh, go on, Alex.
Sorry, I was gonna say I actually did the like I went on Google Maps essentially and tried to see what sort of remains until they get to the entrance to where they have to go at 39A, and it's still like 3 miles to that. So it's probably gonna be an hour and a half. But look at that, you can see a little bit of the top deck there. We cut out from
there we go.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, look at that. They stop there?
Maybe another photo shoot. I don't know. Or maybe they're trying to. There's a barrier along the side of the road, so maybe they're just trying to double check they have clearance with the barrier. We'll have to see.
But yeah, this was like a couple of of weeks ago. We released that flyover video last week, I think it was.
It was like last Wednesday or something, I think.
Yeah, and the rollout was the sort of second half of the week before that. So it was a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks.
Got a couple more bits of support I'll go through quickly. We have Matthew's become a Launch Director member. That is huge monthly support. So thank you so much, Matthew, for joining that level of support. And we have Mr. Fluffy with a $5 super chat saying telling Kevin that the distance by road from Roberts Road to 39A is about 7.5 miles. So I'm sure Kevin appreciates that. I wonder if Kevin was asking in chat. I don't know. I wasn't being able to pay attention. But there you go, Kevin. There's the answer to your question, if you had a question. It is a pretty long distance to roll the launch mount here, but they've made good time. Probably been going just over an hour, just over a couple of hours now. But I hope the SPMT hasn't broken down or something, because they're all like walking around the power packs at the back there.
That would be very on brand if it happened, though.
Yeah.
It would be cooler if it happened right in front of the VAB there.
Be there forever.
I will say it'd also probably be beneficial because you could just sort of cut through the parking lot to get around it where it's there. You have to take a much longer route to get past it on the road.
You know, honestly,
Yeah.
that was kind of perfect because New Glenn and its payloads last night, or this morning, I should say, with Escapade, rolled out to LC-36, and on its route, it came by the VAB here, and it stopped in almost the exact same place for about 10 or 15 minutes. So I think we got pretty lucky here. It's a very lucky day.
They're still wandering around the back of those SPMTs. I'm getting nervous. I'm not going to lie. Fingers crossed they're okay.
It doesn't look like they've started opening any panels on the SPMTs, so I think we'll be okay here.
Yeah. So while we have the opportunity, I'll go through, find some more questions in the chat, of course. If you are in chat and have any questions or comments, tag us at NASASpaceflight or at NSF. Little shorthand for you there. It's easier to type, it's quicker to type. And you put that in chat, and that brings it into the queue here and keep everything nice and organized. We have Tobias, who's asking, or the ships which are going to be built at Roberts Road, which are still going to be a little ways away, but we are expecting them to be building starships at Roberts Road. They're going to build a gigabay and a factory and everything. Where do you think they will static fire those ships? Because Alex, I'll toss this one over to you. As far as I know, they're just building a launch mount and a launch complex at 39A. They're not building like a Kennedy Massey's test site.
My guess is that they'll test the ships not on the launch mount themselves, but they eventually have plans to have like dedicated catch towers on both 39A and 37. So my guess it's probably going to be in those areas where they're going to have also some kind of, little flame trench, smaller flame trench than the one for the launch pad, but still a flame trench for the ships, and just have their those tested sort of like they do at Massey's. For the booster, they can just do that at the launch mount itself. And I only foresee this to be useful or like needed at the very least for the first flight of each ship and booster. But after they've done their first flights, well, they're already proven. They don't need to be static fire anymore, right? Especially once they have a lot more data. Initial ships and initial boosters, those had to expect them to static fire them even after they have already flown. But, once they have enough data, especially flight data, then I don't foresee that to be a need. Just like they do with Falcon 9 nowadays. They used to static fire Falcon 9s all the time before flight. Now they don't need that because it's, they have tons and tons of data out of many, many flights. They are already like well past the 500th flight of Falcon 9. So yeah, after that much data, you just don't need that many static fires.
I suppose the previous flight kind of tests as or kind of acts as a dynamic fire, which is probably more useful than a static fire. So, anyways,
Yeah.
we of course keeping track of not just this launch mount, but also another launch mount, a mobile launch mount, with an Atlas V on top, which has actually now arrived at its launch pad. The Atlas V just got into Slick 41 there for United Launch Alliance. So fingers crossed that went smoothly, and we'll be seeing. I don't know if they do like a wet dress rehearsal or kind of test, but we'll of course be keeping an eye on that as ULA prepares for their launch tomorrow. It's a very, very busy week in terms of launches and like variety of launch vehicles this week, because we have Ariane 6 later today, which will be streaming. We have I think there's a Falcon 9 tomorrow even, and there is a Atlas V just after that Starlink Falcon 9 tomorrow. So yeah, it's a busy week, busy couple days for launches here at NSF, and might even be a New Glenn later in the week. We'll have to wait and see, because of course we had the New Glenn static fire last Thursday night. So pretty exciting week to be on the Space Coast with all of the different rocket action going on. Maybe we might even see a New Glenn booster landing. Just saying, that'd be pretty cool.
So, do you think that they're stuck there?
Well, they're still looking around the power pack. They got the high vis out, which means, you know, it's game time when you get the high vis out. They got the hard hats on. I'm not quite sure what they're expecting to fall on their head, because if the launch mount falls off, then I'm not sure a hard hat would help you. But they've got the high visors on, and they're looking at the SPMTs. So it's looking like the SPMTs have a on brand for SpaceX. They've packed up halfway through the roll.
It wouldn't be the first launch mount that gets stuck, though. We saw that with the Pad 2 launch mount. They got stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was not great.
That took a little bit of encouragement to get around the corner there as they were approaching the launch site at Starbase back in the summer. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on what they're up to. Yeah. What else would you expect? Have a look through here. Laurids is asking, do we think we'll see any booster testing on Pad 2 this year? That, of course, at Starbase. Oh, I'm going to be the optimist here. I'm going to say yes, simply because they've got like 8 weeks-ish left of the year, and they've almost, well, all of the booster 18, I think, has all of its parts, right, Alex, in the Mega Bay? And then they just have to, roll it out and stack it, so...
Yeah, it just needs to get fully stacked. We probably won't have a full confirmation. Like it's gonna be a little bit harder, because now with the Gigabay work and whatnot, it's getting a little bit harder. But there are some certain movements that happen when they need to do a full stack, so we may see something like that happening. But it should be close. They already stacked, we think that they have already stacked the 2 parts that make up the booster, the methane tank and the liquid oxygen tank, and they just need to bring it together and weld it. However, once it's fully stacked, then it needs to get all of the fiddly bits. That's a technical term. Things like the COPVs, the pressure lines, raceways, etc., all of the little bits and bolts that need to go on the booster to make it work, because otherwise it's just a bunch of empty tanks and some valves here and there, but you couldn't even actuate them, things like that. You need all the wiring, you need all the piping and everything. So I think, and once that's done, it needs to do a cryo test. So I think a test on Pad 2, unless it's some sort of like a fit check or something, I'm not sure. This year, I see it more like January, February timeframe though. Like maybe cryo test on December at Massey's, and then get engines around January timeframe, and then static fire maybe January, February. We'll see.
Oh, is it rolling? I think it's moving again. They just closed up the panel at the back there. As soon as we get the zoomed in shot of them working on the power pack, they start rolling them out again.
Of course.
So we can see it moving there. There we go. Going slowly, but it is rolling again. Looks like they're going to try and squeeze it past that railing there without, kind of bending it off. To be fair, if it's OLM versus railing, my money is on the OLM. but I'm sure they don't want to have like a damage bill from NASA when the government reopens. They're like, we have caused X amount of damage rolling your OLM out to the launch site. But there it goes once again. Wonderful. Have a look through here at some more questions. This is an interesting one. I've had a feeling on this for a long time that they should call it LC39X, but J Trains is asking, what will the Starship pad at 39A be called? Will it be called 39A South? As far as I know, there isn't an official name. I'll go around everyone here. Alex, let's start with you. What do you think they should call the Starship pad at 39A?
Isn't it to the east rather than south?
Southeast? East, east,
But
east, southeast?
But it's like straight east. Like you look where the transport director sits, and you look straight east, and it's literally like in the same line. I don't know. But sure, you can name it whatever you want. I don't know. I still haven't figured it out for my spreadsheet.
D, if we still have you, do you have a preference on what they should call the launch site for Starship at 39A?
Well, there's already Pad East in Texas and Pad West. So, you
No,
know,
those are Pad
if
North
this
and
one is
Pad South.
East 39A East, just really throw all the letters in there, make it as confusing as possible, I think.
And if we still have you, Max, I don't know if you have another opinion.
What about just Pad 3? How about that?
No. I'm not. I can't accept that.
Why
I
not?
can't accept that.
Wait. So would that mean that 37 will be Pad 4 and 5 instead of 37A and 37B?
What if
I think it could. I think. What about Pad 3 at LC39 at LC39A?
That's too long.
What if they call it Launch Complex 39A for the Falcon pad and Launch Complex 39A-B for the Starship pad? Surely everyone can get on board with that.
I love it. Let's do it.
So, hello everyone, we're watching SpaceX roll out the Starship launch mount for Launch Complex 39A-B. 39A1 and 39A2 maybe. I'm seeing a lot of suggestions in chat. We have a quadruple A, quadruple B. Or was that quintuple B? 39SH, 39 Super Heavy, 39
Just don't do
XL.
39. Just don't do 39 Starship, 39A Starship, because then it will be 39A SS, and it will spell another thing.
Yeah. Let's not be putting that in the ticker. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Florida Pad 1. I don't know. My gut feeling is always, and nothing against Rocket Lab. We love Rocket Lab. They do amazing stuff. But they have like Launch Complex 1, Launch Complex 2, and Launch Complex 3. But they're spread across the world. I always think you should number the launch complexes by the spaceport. Like it should be Spaceport 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but some in New Zealand, some are in Virginia. You know, I just feel like you should number them by the, like we don't. That's my opinion on it, anyways. I think we can leave it there. We've discussed naming conventions enough. We know SpaceX will come up with some horrible name that Dan Hewitt will probably tweet it later, saying we've just rolled out the launch mount to Pad Gamma or something. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Oh, jeez. No, it's Pad Alpha because it's 39 Alpha. But what's going on with that poll? Is it just me? Like, is it?
No, it's like that in real life. That's what it's actually like.
Has it been like that for a long time? Like the launch mount definitely didn't knock that over. That's just lens compression, right? That's at a different location.
Correct. That's actually like halfway between the road here and the turning basin area that I'm on and the road that the OLM's on. So it's a long distance from any of these roads, and it's been tilted like that for a while.
Yeah. Might need to get a telehandler out and just prop it back up. Oh, brilliant. But yeah, it looks like whatever problem there was, they've got it resolved and they're back up, looks like, to their full speed, which is probably like 2 miles an hour or something, but still, full speed, making good progress. It certainly feels like it goes much faster than the crawler does when it has SLS on top, as we saw rolling out many times for Artemis 1 back in 2022. Fingers crossed we'll see it rolling out, pretty soon for Artemis 2. Just saying, they could. Alex, what do you think? Do you think they'll roll out SLS before the end of the year to do testing, or do you think that'll be next year for testing? Because of course they'll do like wet dress rehearsals and stuff at 39B, right?
I think it is planned to be in January, mostly because they're rolling out with all of the flight termination system and everything. Like they're rolling out already launch ready, and the wet dress rehearsal is supposed to be like 5 or 6 days before launch day. So like it's going to be very, very close to launch day, right? Like they're going to roll out, do the testing, and then try and get the launch on the 5th. Although, we'll see if it happens on the 5th or if they are, ready for another launch window.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that, but fingers crossed it's sooner rather than later. Certainly a very exciting mission indeed. Nearly, if it sticks to that February window, we're like literally 4 months away, which is pretty bonkers, not gonna lie. It looks like we did have a wild DYs in frame, but they've run away. I don't know where they've gone. Where have you gone, D? Give us a wave, D. Wherever you've gone. There we go. Hi, D. Nice wave. I don't blame you sitting in the car. Okay. Well, it's going behind the foliage a little bit there, but fingers crossed.
Still visible.
Yeah, I mean the thing is so tall that we can literally see it. So I wonder if we'll be able to see it all the way to 39A. That'd be pretty bonkers if we can, but we'll have to keep an eye.
Well,
we'll track it for as long as we can.
Yeah, because this is from the ground view, right? This is not from the press site building. That's a little bit elevated, so we will see it for a little bit longer than this camera can. But you can see there, 39A, Falcon and Starship pads to the right-hand side.
Beautiful view, as always. Let's run through here. We've got Jay, not RJ, a different Jay. We've got Jay French, not Jay Scottish, in chat with a £5 super chat. Thank you very much. They're saying, how do you think they're going to transition Starship from vertical to horizontal for transportation without damaging the tiles or no lift points? That's an interesting question, Alex. They're going to need some kind of giga breakover. There you go, GB, Giga Bay, Giga breakover when they're at the Port of Brownsfield to roll this thing out. I have a theory. Now, this would be a huge pain, but what if they don't put on the tiles until it gets to Florida? Then you don't have to worry about knocking the tiles.
Well, I mean, it could happen that they turn it down sort of like with some sort of kind of jig at the bottom that can swivel, and then that sort of attaches to the hold down clamps at the bottom of the ship, and then you've got, for example, like a crane that allows it to sort of use the same lifting and catch pins to sort of rest down on a crater or something like that. I have no idea. I'm just making this up as I go, but I think that could be the easiest way in my brain how to do it. That's essentially how they do it. For example, with New Glenn, that's what Blue Origin uses, and we've seen that in action with their simulator. In the case of Falcon 9, for example, they use 2 cranes instead of having like a turnover fixture on a swivel joint or something like that. They just use another crane that lifts up the bottom end, and the other sort of lowers the top end, and then both of them, once it's horizontal in the air, they sort of lower it down on the transporter. I have no idea whether there'll be some kind of specific way of doing it, but they can use the lifting points, the catch pins, without damaging the tiles. It shouldn't, they shouldn't need any other special attachment in theory.
And we have Matthew here asking, when do you think they'll start building a pad for Starship in California? That's certainly going to be a ways away, but Space Launch Complex 6 at Vandenberg, that is a very, very big site. So never say never, but I certainly think that'll still be a few years at least. I don't know if anyone else has any dissenting opinions.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna take. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon. It's probably gonna take a while, right? That it's gonna be, if it happens, it's probably gonna be something like in the 2030s. But right now they're very busy with you know the Florida Space Coast and the pads at Starbase, because now they're demolishing pad 1, right? Because it's the old design. So now they're sort of tearing all of that down and being able to build all of the new stuff to the new specs. So they're going to be very busy there. They're going to be busy here also at the Space Coast with the 2 launch pads at Sleek 37, plus this one that they're building at 39A. So plenty of work.
And I have to say, I obviously can't speak for the government, but I would be shocked if the Department of Defense and National Reconnaissance Office were not drooling over the idea of putting a gigantic even spy satellite inside of a Starship. Because I mean, the lift capacity of that rocket, they are going to be like, sign them up. the amount of mass they'll be able to launch into orbit. Maybe even just using a Starship with the Chomper payload bay with like a massive mirror inside, you know? Space telescope, spy satellite, same thing, just point one into space, point the other back at Earth, you know? Maybe change the focus a bit. Have a look through here. JS Webb is asking, is the design of the bottom part of the boosted quick disconnect different than the second mount at Starbase? It looks like it's been squared off. I think they're talking about like that kind of protrusion we can see there on the left side of the mount from this view. Is it more squared off? I don't know. Alex, it's got your name written all over it.
It's the same. I see it the same as the one at Starbase. I'm literally looking here at our south cameras. I can see that part of the launch mount, and it's pretty much the same. I don't see any. I mean, the big difference is that it's already installed here, unlike at Pad 2 at Starbase where it was rolled out without it. But other than that, it looks to be the same geometry, the same size and shape.
Indeed. Getting a move on again. Pretty rapid. Keeping tracking of it as it rolls beside the Crawl Away on Crawl Away Way, as it's apparently called on Google Maps. Also known as the Saturn Causeway. I suppose it has 2 names. Maybe they came up with Crawl Away Way and they were like, actually that's a bit of a mouthful. Let's just call it the Saturn Causeway because that's where they used to roll the Saturn V. You know, maybe, I don't know. And we have an old 177 pilot with a $20 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Just a bit more of a direct way to support us. They're asking, did the alligator story at the New Glenn static fire get confirmed? I don't think Blue Origin or Dave Limp or Jeff Bezos has said anything about, there's a rumor going around on social media that there was an alligator in the flame trench for the New Glenn static fire. I don't think they've said anything. So, yeah, I don't think there is an objective official line on that one. But yeah, I think unfortunately we'll just have to be one of the great spaceflight myths. You know, is Comet 3I Atlas aliens? Is the Earth round? Was there an alligator in the New Glenn flame trench? You know, it's one of those things. Just one of those things, you know. Anyways, let's have a look through here. Oh, Sard, this is a great question. They're asking, when are we expecting to see the launch tower sections roll out to Space Launch Complex 37? Of course, they're building 2 launch pads there. And we've seen on the flyovers, maybe if I stall long enough, Jay will have a moment to bring up the picture from our recent flyover of all the different tower sections staged at the Roberts Road facility. But Alex, they have been building towers. There we go. They have been building those tower sections for quite some time now. When do we think we might start seeing those move out to Slick 37?
Well, they first need approval to start work on the pad. Right now, they only had approval to clear out the old infrastructure. So they demolished all of the Delta IV Heavy infrastructure, like the mobile service tower, et cetera, right? They cleared out also, like they flattened the area. They removed, there was this sort of mound, right? where elevated mount where the rocket will sit and things like that. So they have removed all of that. Now they are waiting on the paperwork. But if you've been looking at the news lately, the U.S. is in this thing called government shutdown, which means a lot of these agencies are shutting down. They are not working right now, only working on essential things. And I don't think that's an essential part. Like, I don't think it's exempted from the government shutdown. So yeah, maybe that'll take a little bit longer to get approved. Once it gets approved, then they can go in and start the foundations. And once they start the foundations, then they'll be able to get those roll out and be able to stack them. In the meantime, they seem to be installing things already ahead of time. Just like this launch mount has a lot of more hardware installed before the rollout, they are doing the same with the launch tower modules, where they have already installed things like the internal stair system, part of the elevator shaft, sort of protections and things like that. They have these grating around the middle shaft. So all of that can be installed. They probably are going to be installing the propellant lines. There's so many things that they can really install before the rollout and have it ready to go almost.
We have an interesting question here from Lariku. They're asking, what are our personal opinions on version 3 Starship so far? Design changes, visually, anything? I'll go around everyone again. I'll start. I have to say, I am a big fan of the integrated hot stage rig. I think that looks quite pretty. I think it looks, first of all, I think it looks better than the V1/V2 hot staging ring. Two, it's nice they don't have to jettison it, and it's actually a fully reusable or fully recoverable vehicle, because of course they had to expend that hot staging ring on every flight for their, they've flown that 11 times so far, or 10 times so far. Yeah, I'm going to go with the hot staging ring being integrated on the top of the booster. Alex, what is your favorite or personal opinions on V3 Starship so far?
I like it. If it works, I like it. I don't care how, whatever design. If it works, I like it. I was a bit mad about V2 not working on the first few flights. It got working at the end, flight 10 and 11. A good way to go, I guess. But yeah, we'll see about V3. Once I start seeing it launch and everything and landing, hopefully as well, then I'll judge.
Dee, do you have any thoughts or opinions or favorite things about V3 Starship?
I think it's going to be really cool to see it fly the first time. It'll be exciting to see it fly out of here. But, the first time we started to get an idea of what it was going to look like, I was just like, huh, they're just making this vehicle larger and larger, huh?
Max, if you're still with us, I don't know if you're relocating or whatnot, but if you're with us, then let us know, and we can get your opinions on V3 Starship as well.
I'm here, Ryan.
Hey, what are your thoughts on V3 Starship?
To echo what everyone else has said so far, I am very excited for it, although it does have a lot to prove, and the risk of a rather bumpy start is there because V3 booster and V3 ship are brand new from the ground up. Mostly the booster, but ship as well on a lot of fronts, especially with Raptor 3. I think it looks way better, especially with the booster and the ring. It does kind of bother me how there's only 3 grid fins instead of 4, but that's just nitpicking. I'm so excited to try and grab an engine shot with the lack of heat shielding or the shielding around the engines. I'm so excited for that opportunity. Plus the bidirectional flame diverter as well. So we'll just see how it performs after the first 2 or 3 flights, though.
Yeah, those exposed engines are going to be pretty bonkers to see. Yeah, that's going to be pretty crazy. That's going to look like me playing Kerbal Space Program on the low tech tree, and you without unlocking loads of stuff yet, and you just kind of have to stick the bare engines on the bottom of the booster, and you can't make it look pretty yet. That's going to be pretty crazy. looks like SpaceX is continuing to make good progress, rolling out the launch complex, the launch mount to the launch complex. Approaching noon here on the east coast of the US. But yeah, we can see them making great progress, rolling next to the crawlerway. They continue to move down there. Of course, it passed a little while ago now, past the vehicle assembly building, and we have MCC Saxman asking if SpaceX still have a contract to use one of the high bays in the VAB. Alex, I'm not. I know there was rumors about SpaceX wanting or potentially looking at the idea of stacking Starship in the VAB, but I don't know if they were ever like issued a contract or anything. Do you know anything about that?
Oh. Yeah, they were never given a contract for that. They just looked into that option, but they never really had a contract or anything. In fact, NASA eventually said, "Well, you know what? We'll use it for SLS." So both of the high bays that could be used for other vehicles are now in used for SLS instead of being open for other companies. So yeah, VAB is no go for stacking anything or holding any vehicles other than SLS stuff, essentially.
Because of course there was also Northrop Grumman who were going to be launching the Omega, or were concepting the Omega rocket, which was going to be using the VAB and Launch Complex 39B. Because a brilliant idea is to have two different vehicles use the same pad, because that will work, right? Yeah.
Well,
Genius.
you can see it with Atlas and Vulcan right now.
Yeah, well, if it's two vehicles of the same company, I guess that kind of makes sense. But when you have like a private company and a government agency like vying for the same launch pad, and then NASA is like, "Hey, we want to launch Artemis 2, we want to launch Artemis 3," it's like, guess who gets priority? SLS taking a few weeks to go through wet dress rehearsals with hydrogen being leaked out of the tail service mask umbilical. Just saying.
Slightly
just putting it
optimistic
out
with the
there.
weeks there.
Yeah.
I think the goal is just to have the ships and boosters come into Kennedy Space Center already ready to go, and they just need to go to the launch pad and launch. I think that's the case. Because right now they have really no other place to store them. The Gigabay is going to take a while to be built unless they really, do something like, a really lightning pace, if you will, right? But I don't see that structure. Although I should probably clarify one thing, which is the potential that they may actually do half of the Gigabay at Roberts Road and then do the other half. The reason I say that is because lately we've seen that they have concentrated all their work on one half of the Gigabay instead of the entirety of the Gigabay, while at Starbase they're doing the entire Gigabay all at once. So that's really interesting. I don't know if it's anything related to that, but it could be that they want to get half of the Gigabay built by the time they need to ship boosters and ships to the Kennedy Space Center, and that way they have at least some place to store ships and boosters while they get the rest of the Gigabay and the production side, because they don't have either. There's no Star Factory or anything at Roberts Road, right? The only thing that they can do at the Gigabay will be just store the ships and boosters. So yeah, we'll see if that happens.
So if they half the Gigabay, does that mean it will be a Megabay?
No,
That was maybe funny.
it will be 512 megabays.
A kilo and a half bay? I don't know. Because of course it's like orders of magnitude. It's like mega and giga, get it? Maybe funny. Oh, thank you for the humorous Alex. Greatly appreciated. Really. Moving on. Ricky Nixon 1120 is asking, how many self-propelled modular transporters do you think SpaceX owns? Well, they've certainly got at least 3, because they have 3 here right now moving that launch mount we can see in the bottom left. The thing is, I think that's kind of difficult to measure because they're modular. so they can kind of configure them to have as many as they like, technically. Can they?
Yeah,
Esteemed
it's
guests?
they also use these for Falcon 9 transports sometimes. So like might be part of the whole deal. I don't know. They have so many of them that it's really complicated to say. They have 13, 14. I don't really know exactly how many of them, but they have many. Have a lot.
Oh, we've got a good question here. They're asking Australia again. They're asking any thoughts on the black thruster ring on the HLS concept renderings Draco variant ? Because of course we got those awesome renders from SpaceX last Thursday. We covered them in this week in Spaceflight on Friday. We also covered them in Starbase update last night. Alex, do you have any thoughts of what those engines could be? Because the infamous thing is they've been in all the renders, but SpaceX actually never said anything about them. So what do you think about them?
Yeah, we assume that they are just Methalox thrusters, right? I don't know about Draco. I think there's this big misconception about them being Draco thrusters. First of all, Draco thrusters are super low in power in thrust, and then the Super Dracos, like both of them run on hypergolics. I think the goal of HLS is to use everything that they have already on the tanks, and that's methane and liquid oxygen. And methane and liquid oxygen burn way different than hypergolics. Hypergolics, you don't need any source of flames, for example. You need a source for flames for methane and oxygen burning. So you will need some kind of igniter system and things like that. They also keep changing like the size and the number of them on any of these renders. Like lately, these renders have been consistent, but early renders showed what appeared to be smaller of these thrusters, but much more of them on HLS. So we'll see what happens with those. But they are not Draco or Super Draco. We don't think they are anything related, other than they're probably pressure fed. But that's it. Pressure fed meaning that there's no pump or anything on them. But yeah.
Spiritualist Wolf 133 has the answer to our question. They are saying it would be either a gear bay or a gah bay if they built it in half. Nothing? Okay, moving on. Apparently only I found that amusing.
I found it amusing. However, I've been relocating some gear.
Okay. You get a pasty because you've been distracted. My co-host here, Alex, on the other hand, has not been distracted and yet didn't find it funny, so he's hurt my feelings.
Well, I've been a little bit distracted, to be fair, but okay.
I think we all have to some point this morning. Or now, actually, it's afternoon now. It's past noon.
Happy afternoon, everybody. This rollout has been going on for so long, it's now literally the afternoon. SpaceX teams, they've got a long day, but the day is nearly over. Well, not nearly over. They've probably still got, I don't know, an hour or so to go. Because this is, despite how, like, the lens compression, like, when you zoom a lens really far in, it makes everything look a lot closer than it actually is. I mean, it's zoomed in, but you know what I mean. Like, it compresses everything. Lens physics and stuff. So the mount looks a lot closer to the launch pad than it actually is right now. But it's still got a good, I don't know, couple miles, 3 miles maybe to go. Or maybe 2 miles, 3 kilometers, something like that.
Depends on where it is. It should be getting close to the gantry, right? To the 39 gantry. From there, I think it's another mile and a half until it reaches the entrance, because it doesn't go through the main entrance at 39A. There's like a side entrance.
Mm-hmm.
So it even if it reaches 39A, it's like it still has a little bit more to go. It needs to go down the road a little bit further to get to the side entrance.
Indeed. Have a look through here. Alex, Alex, I'm going to give you a pass to do an Alex answer on this one, because we have Brian asking, is Florida getting an air separation plant? And as far as I know, it's actually getting several.
Yeah, so they're gonna have one at 39A and another one for Slick 37, and we'll see because you never know with SpaceX. They may build even another one outside of KSC or something like that, and they'll just pipe it in. Who knows? But yeah, they're gonna have one at 39A and another one at 37, and that's how they're gonna be getting their nitrogen and oxygen to work on Starship launches.
I thought it was going to be longer, but there you go, everybody. That's right. That's why I gave you. That's why I gave you the pass to do the Alex answer, and you actually did like a reasonable answer length. So maybe I need to pressure you into doing a short answer, and then it gets
There's not
long,
a lot. I mean, there's not a lot more to say unless people keep asking. If they keep asking, I keep answering.
We have another question about the infrastructure. Do they have the flame trench already completed? I know, annoyingly, the only way we can really see into the flame trench is through the satellite images, which our friend Harry Stranger purchases and then, very kindly shares on all the socials for free for us to take a look at. Do we know the status of the flame trench? Is it complete? Because I mean, even from this perspective, we can see the gantry, the service structure next to where the mount will be at the pad. But do we actually know the status of the flame trench?
Well, I mean, it is not completed by any means. It's still under construction, but the remaining work is essentially sort of related, in fact, with the launch mount work. They need the launch mount, in fact, now to complete some of the remaining work because they need to get the service structure built, and the service structure connects to the launch mount. It'll be connecting, in fact, to the left-hand side here where you see the launch mount there. It's going to be to the left. I don't know, Jay, if you look in the control center, you'll see that I left a picture from this perspective of Launch Mount 2 at Starbase. So you will be able to see sort of the difference there. But yeah, and so they now need to connect a lot of the ground systems with the service structure, and then from the service structure to the launch mount. So now it's when they actually need that launch mount out there. They don't have to complete the flame trench. There we go. So you can see there, it will be the same sort of more or less perspective. You will have the service structure on the left. This is from yesterday night, I think, from Caesar. And then you will have the tower to the right. And then all of the manifolds at the top, the quick disconnect there for the booster. One of the two of them there. So the flame trench itself, it's actually even still being sort of touched up at the very least, right? They're still doing a little bit of work here and there. You can see that the top of the ridge of the cap in between the two buckets, there's this structure in between, and you can see it there in the middle. There's some scaffolding still underneath. So yeah, it's not even completed yet, even at Starbase, although it's very close to getting all the work done. But yeah, that's sort of the short version, because that's the short version. But yeah.
I don't know if we can go back into there we go. Am I going crazy, or is the launch, the Dragon crew access arm extended?
It is. It's been like that for a while.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, ignore me. I just saw that and I'm like, I don't remember it looking like that, but it turns out it's looked like that for a long time. Okay, ignore me, everybody.
Yeah, it's been a few days like that. I don't know why.
Okay. Anyways, have a look through here. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, don't a lot of people, they'll only read out questions and stuff from super chats and stuff, but that's not right. We want to answer questions and see all of your comments. So literally anybody, just tag us at NASASpaceflight. I think the only condition is that you're subscribed, and that's not because we want everyone. I mean, of course we want everyone to subscribe to us, but it's not like we turn on you have to subscribe to chat feature just to try and force subscribers. It's literally just to try and stop the spam, because when we had that turned off, there was so much spam. It was crazy. Like some of the Starship launches, we had to turn on slow mode, and it was a bit of a pain to deal with. So that's why we had to turn that feature on, unfortunately. But literally anyone who's been subscribed for longer, like 60 seconds or something, tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight at NSF. That'll come into the queue here, and we can bring them up on screen and put them in the ticker, so you can read them as well. Oh, we have Neil here with a great question. They're asking, when is the last time this many new launch facilities were simultaneously in construction at the Cape? Yeah, I'm going to toss this to the field team. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's been this busy since the start, like since the 1960s, because we have so many different launch complexes under construction right now. I see Max has turned his microphone on. So Max, take it away.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that there's actually a voice clip of me talking to both Julia and Dee in the helicopter on our last flyover that this is the busiest we've seen the Cape in a very, very long time. Probably we haven't seen the likes of this probably since when I guess when it was called Missile Row back in the 60s. Back when you had Atlases and Titans and Thors and Abels and everything else going up off the Cape side. Probably since then. It's been a very, very up and down ride since then between Atlas, the space shuttle, Titan 3 and 4, and of course Delta 4 and Delta 2, and briefly Delta 3. Good Lord, I can't talk. Yeah, it's been a very long time, easily decades. And honestly, from here, it's only going to get busier. And we just need for Terranar to come online and also Stoke and Nova to come online as well. So I'm just waiting for the chance to get a photo of both SLS at the pad with Starship and potentially New Glenn and maybe some others there in the middle with Vulcan at 41 and Nova and maybe Terranar all vertical at the same time. How insane would that be, honestly? But at the rate that things are going at the moment and progressing, that does not seem out of the realm of possibility here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely bonkers because, of course, there is that. If you haven't seen it, look for it online. But there is that picture from the Artemis 1 campaign of the Crew Dragon at 39A and the SLS at 39B. And there's an official NASA picture. They used, a long lens to get both of them in shot. And it's a really pretty picture. And there's a lot of hype around that at the time because it's like for the first time since the space shuttle, there's two crew-capable vehicles at Launch Complex 39A and 39B at the same time. But now you combine that with the rest of the powers at the Space Force Station. We've got Vulcan and Atlas, which share 41. We've got Starship coming up at 37. Of course, as Max said, we've got Stoke Space with their Nova rocket. We've got Relativity building their Terranar rocket, which again is a big rocket. We've got Blue Origin with their New Glenn. And we've got some small sat providers as well. We've got Phantom Via at Slick 13. We've got Firefly, who I think still have the lease on Slick 20, but I don't think they've done much on that. They're kind of focusing on Vandenberg and their facilities up in Virginia. But there's so many different companies and so many different rockets. It's going to be... And like launches for these rockets are like, we're not set, they're not years away anymore. For a lot of these, they're months away, which is just absolutely bonkers. And it's going to be so cool to be able to cover all of this on NSF from the Space Coast.
And you can check some of those on our regular Space Coast updates / flyovers. I had to do the plug. I'm sorry.
Yes,
AVP.
of course. I do not blame you. I'm not sure if it's it's oh yes, Chris B pinned it in chat. Thank you very much, Chris, with the latest KSC flyover. So after this stream is concluded, when the mount is rolled to the complex there, you can go watch the last KSC flyover. And after that, we've got a Raptor side on Starbase Live later as well. We've also got the live coverage, thanks to Arianespace, who's providing us with some special feeds. We've got the live coverage of Ariane 6 later on today as well. So, busy day. And, of course, we've got 2 launches tomorrow as well. So, busy week at NSF. So, make sure turn on the notifications, click all the buttons. You know the things. You don't want to miss out on any of it. Our preview here is a little bit low resolution, so it's lower latency for us to look at. I'm trying to see the mount. I've lost track of the mount. I can't see it anymore. I don't know if we've lost visuals of it or what, but I'm trying to find it.
So looking here from the roof, we sort of lost our visuals behind the trees a little bit as it was passing in front of the cranes and actually the Starship Tower at 39A. So we don't have any sort of super clear visual, but we're going to, I think, keep an eye on the tree lines, see if it comes back into view at all. Once it gets a little bit farther, closer to that 39 gantry, we might be able to see it. There's a little bit of a dip there, so I'm keeping a close eye out for it.
I
see the goal in chat.
Oh yeah, there's a new goal in chat now saying no time limit on Alex answers for the remainder of the stream.
That's dangerous.
I literally gave you a clear shot to do as long an answer as you like, and you did like a 20-second answer. So I already provided you this opportunity, and you wasted it.
Well, we can have another one, I guess.
I should probably hit a little bit more support that we have been getting coming in. We've got 2 super chats. One from Troy. Thank you very much, Troy. They're saying
Okay.
I'm doing my part.
Can I call out Jay, because he just said in the back channel that we could be here until the lift with that goal? Can we not?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, for
Honestly,
reference. Go ahead,
I think
Max.
I was gonna say I think we'd be probably here until the first time it launches from there next year. Maybe I don't know.
Oh, come on! Look, for reference, when they rolled out the one for Pat 2, it was like a day or two after when they lifted it. So yeah, that's
I
that's why they
totally
say what they're
believe.
saying.
Like we could just be here listening to your answers, and then every once in a while we could just chime in with another question, a sentence or two, and we could totally be here until the lift.
You're so mean to me.
I'll let you guys do that.
I don't
Thanks, Ryan.
talk for that long.
We also had a $5 super chat from Apocalypse Cow. No message though, but just supporting either way. So thank you very much, Apocalypse Cow. It's another name we always see in chat supporting NSF though. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, and just as I said that, we got another one coming in from JC Davis. They're asking, outside of Artemis 3, what is your favorite potential mission from the Cape for Starship? I mean, what else is there apart from Artemis 3 on the books right now? I'm honestly not sure. Artemis 3 kind of top. Maybe the refueling flights for Artemis 3. Is that cheating?
Yeah, we're gonna. Go ahead, Max.
No, I was just going to say briefly, probably the first crewed flight from Florida. I think we are still years away from that, but that's probably the real big one that everyone has been waiting. Probably by the time that gets here, it'll be probably a decade or two by the time everyone's been waiting for it. So that's definitely probably the most important mission of the program beyond Artemis to this point.
Severin Fisher in chat has a great point. They're saying that we could just say Artemis 4, so I'm going to say Artemis 4.
Also fair.
Which is, of course, going to be the second lunar landing attempt with the Starship HLS, or second crewed lunar landing attempt with the Starship Human Landing System lunar lander, which there's been a lot of discussion about over the past few days / weeks.
A lot of people are always like, oh my gosh, this is like the 300th Starlink or whatever. And it's like, you're going to get like that, like, completely being like, hang on, there's being another tanker launch this week, right? It's going to be like that when these launches start happening left, right, and center. So just saying.
Can my one I'm looking forward to be the refueling? Because we talked about it a little bit on the flame trench, but from the wording, it sounded like they would launch one from Starbase that would be a sort of long duration, and then eventually a second one, but they didn't specify that one whether it would be from Starbase or not. So I hope that'd be from here, and that could be a relatively early V3 flight.
Interesting. That is a good point. I suppose the only way to find out is to wait and see.
It'll be interesting if they do HLS from 37, just like on the renders that they released last week. I don't know if you saw it. Like the renders literally showed HLS launching from 37. That'd be very weird.
Yeah. Alex, Ron Smith has a great question here. I feel like maybe this is going to be an Alex answer, but they're asking,
oh boy,
explain Artemis.
What? No. That doesn't count, Ron. That's too long.
Alex, could you explain why the OLM is a shuttle-derived hardware?
No, it's not shuttle derived. Why would it be shuttle derived?
Because of the flame trench, everything's shuttle-derived.
Oh my goodness.
The space shuttle launched from 39A, and
Saturn
this is going to
V.
the complex for 39A, so it's shuttle derived.
Saturn V was also had a flame trench, so in theory it should be Saturn derived, Apollo derived. I don't know.
Let's move on. We've got another question here. This is kind of an adjacent question, but I suppose we've been here for a little while now. We can talk about adjacent questions, right? Because we have Saad who's asking if Jared Isaacman doesn't become the NASA administrator, is the Polaris program still on? I think that's a difficult question. I would never say never, but when going through the entire process of becoming NASA administrator at the start of the year before the nomination was pulled, I'm pretty sure there's a letter that came out of Jared disclosing all of the things that they all of the business ventures they had to hand over shares for, and relinquish shares and things like that, and that was sent to the Senate, and that was published because everything has to be public because it's the government and stuff. So I'm pretty sure at least contractually, monetarily, the Polaris program deal with SpaceX is unfortunately cancelled, because that would be a pretty big conflict of interest to have that still operative whilst being NASA administrator. But if Jared Isaacman never becomes NASA administrator, then I suppose maybe a similar thing could come back in the future at some point. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's legally a thing anymore. But we'll just have to wait and see. And we can see there the SpaceX horizontal integration facility, the hangar there at 39A. That's where they get all the Falcon rockets ready. We also have the gantry there on the right-hand side. That gantry is actually called a gantry, by the way. That's its actual name. That's the viewing gantry, which I think is sometimes open to people who go to the visitor complex at the Kennedy Space Center.
Oh, I think I see.
Can we see it?
I think I see the top. Yeah. I'm seeing it rolling there, in between some of the bushes.
Oh yeah, it's
to the right of the hangar,
right on the tree line.
Yeah, it's right there.
Barely on the tree line, impossible to see, but it was, or at least it was there for a second. I think it might have just dipped under again. Maybe? I don't know. It's very tight there.
Old man shakes fist at shrubbery.
Yeah, we need to go out there and cut the trees down. Or maybe get a big tower or something. Maybe we need to ask SpaceX if we can borrow one of those Starship tower segments and put some cameras on top of it at the press site so we can look over the trees.
Or I have an even better idea.
What if? Better idea?
What if we somehow find a way to get 1 or 2 24/7 cameras for SCL on top of the vehicle assembly building?
So, if you're watching, hi.
Yeah, hello. I mean, it's a government shutdown, so you don't have much else to do right now. So just saying, if you're watching, hello, can we put a camera up there, please?
Yes, please.
I'm sure they're watching.
So someone must be watching. Someone has to be watching,
Wait, I forgot. Government shutdown. They're not watching then.
Let's have a look through here. We've got another bit of support here from FWD79. Thank you very much for the £10. They're asking if we could explain what rolling OLM means. The Orbital Launch Mount is so it's the launch mount which Starship sits on. They are rolling that out. Well, we can't really see them rolling it out anymore. But SpaceX has been, for the last several hours now, they've been relocating it from their Roberts Road production facility, which is kind of hidden amongst the trees at the Kennedy Space Center, and they've been rolling it out past the VAB, down by the crawlerway, all the way out to Launch Complex 39A, so they can, start actually constructing all finishing off the pad there. We can see there the Gigabay construction. Actually, that is at Roberts Road. You can see that. You can see there it's behind the trees. But that is, or just next to where that Gigabay is being built, is where they're building tower segments for future Starship launch pads. It's where they're building the launch mount for the 39A, or where they were building the launch mount rather. Go on, Alex.
I think the crane on the left there should be maybe. That will be sort of the area where they will be. I think it's that area. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know that to the right you can see Hangar X2. So maybe, I don't know. I will have to look it up on a map relative to our line of sight. But the Gigabay construction, it's very visible because that thing, like you see, it's clearing the tree lines. That is not even a third. I think it's like maybe a quarter of the height of the Gigabay. It's still gonna go and rise up a lot more. So be ready. Just saying, it's gonna be a very big building.
Yeah, I said it on Starbase Update yesterday. Like, I think it's literally going to look like the VAB's little sibling, and it's not going to be small at all. Like, you're going to be able to see, because if you've never had the pleasure of visiting Titusville and visiting the Kennedy Space Center, like literally as you like approach Merritt Island and you look over the water there, the VAB is huge. You can see it for miles. And very shortly, there's going to be like 2 VABs. There's going to be a big one and a slightly smaller one. But the slightly smaller one, of course, is going to be the SpaceX Gigabay, where they'll be building starships and super heavy boosters. And that is the beginning of that construction right there. And it's going to be so exciting to see Starship action finally ramping up in Florida. Because it's been a little while, Alex, hasn't it? Like SpaceX, it feels like there's been some false dawns a couple of times with Starship in Florida. They started building some bits at Sidco Road, and then they started building that launch mount.
I think we're starting to see again the launch mount. Hang on. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Right there, the 39 gantry.
They built that kind of little weird ramp thing at 39A, and then they built the original launch mount at 39A, and now finally they're rolling out the proper launch mount, should we say, to 39A, and they're building the Gigabay. So it's great to see this stuff finally happening for realsies this time. And you can see there the 39 on the gantry there, proving it is the Launch Complex 39A viewing gantry. Apparently the goal in chat is now halfway. 5 out of 10, no time limit on Alex answers for the remainder of the stream. And oh my goodness, Bideford's just done a $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Bideford.
Wow.
Bideford's always in chat, by the way. Bideford always doing big support. So you know how much we appreciate you, Bideford. But yet again, thank you so much for your support, Bideford. They're saying a special day, yes? ? It's certainly a very exciting day because we saw it going past the VAB earlier. This thing is just huge, absolutely ginormous. And we can see it now going past the gantry there. Oh, we've also got the wonderful the river ? That leads up to the turn base in there. Very pretty shot. Or is it a creek? I don't know what the technical term is.
Yeah, and it's a bit wobbly because unlike some of the other robotic cameras, these are just on normal tripods, I think. So it's not as secure.
I think this is a human camera.
Yeah, this is a human camera. Yeah, and it's wobbly.
This is a max tilt zoom camera.
Maybe D. I saw, or Max.
Yeah, I believe this is my camera that's on screen right now. I think we may have just lost visual of it again, but it still has a little bit left to go.
Yeah, it's just now going to the left of the gantry.
Let's see if I can measure the distance from here out to the pad. I click away. This is thrilling television.
Are you really doing that while you're talking?
Yeah,
you could send me
I'm literally
an answer or
measuring it
something.
right now on Google Maps.
It's about a mile and a quarter.
Well, I'm getting the exact answer.
So 45 minutes or
They're going
something.
through that little side gate road thing at 39A, right? They're not going through by the hangar. Okay,
Yeah, so it should be another.
Side gate.
Yeah, it should be another 30 or 45 minutes. But I'm really curious what's going on now out there at the press site. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. That's a picture from like a couple of minutes ago of Max and D out there at the press site, bringing you these views.
Just having a good old time over here, guys. And honestly, this one has been a long time coming. Obviously, nowhere near to the extent of the first launch, but we haven't really had any major hardware for Starship head over to 39A in quite some time. Progress there has been at a standstill for a long time, at least from what we could see. And we are just so grateful to be here and to be able to share this with everybody else here who's hanging out with us. So obviously lots more to come, but this was a very, very, very big milestone.
Yeah, other than the individual components like flame trench wall parts and tank farm parts and all that, and the tanks themselves. Other than that, any big major hardware has not been seen since I think the launch the sticks, the chopsticks were installed around January 2023. So we're coming up almost on 3 years since that happened. And I guess other than that is the rollout of the tower sections and the hardware for Tower 2 at Starbase, but not really proper, right?
The measurement tool on Google Maps is saying 2.04 kilometers from the gantry to the side gate at 39A. 1.27 miles for our Imperial friends.
It's about 40 minutes, more or less, until it reaches that point.
Yep.
I'm sure traffic management at KSC will be very, very happy when that happens.
Well,
They'll be able to reinstall the stoplights because they took out a bunch of signs and stoplights in the days leading up to this, and they put up temporary stop signs weighted down with sandbags in this road here in front of the VAB. So I'm sure they'll get to work putting all of those signs back in position. And, as we're talking right now, I'm seeing more hardware. I'm not sure exactly what that is rolling out in the direction of 39A, but it's a busy time here, and they're making it work. Just like Starbase, they have to take out some signs, but was it the OLM roll where a sign got taken? There was a roll in Starbase where a sign got taken out by the roll itself, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there were actually more than one.
Well, yeah.
But also, I was driving through base. I was driving through here maybe 3 or 4 days ago. I think it was in between one of the attempts I tried to go see New Glen rollout. And I suddenly noticed that a lot of the street signs and the street lights were missing, and I was like, "Oh, I guess they must just be, fixing them or having them just full on replaced." And then it clicked. I was like, "Wait, no, something huge has to pass in between here very soon." And that's when it hit. Like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is not for repairs."
Is that? I thought I just saw a flashing light by the gantry, but maybe I'm imagining things.
They took a picture of you.
Yeah, there's like something. There's in the gantry. There's like a white thing. I'm not imagining this, right? That's definitely something that's appearing and disappearing in the gantry.
I have no idea. They have like some kind of thing there for visitors and things like that.
Yeah, they have like
But
a
I have no
engine test stand or something.
Yeah, that too.
So on the right side of the gantry, so if you're really looking in there, there is a big screen there where they'll sometimes have some live streams of
Okay.
launches. So you might be seeing whatever they're showing on that screen right now
They're gonna
as
show
it goes.
Just saying. We can hook them up to our feed.
Okay, so
Well, we've certainly seen our feed on display there and at the main VC complex before. So I'm not sure if they have it right now. I wouldn't think right now necessarily for a roll, but for launches and the like, they often do.
Yeah, so I was just watching TV after all of that. Okay, let's have a look. We have FWD79 again in chat. Thank you very much. They're saying maximum 20 minutes for Alex. Yeah, we'll have to see about that. Question here from Mr. Fluffy again. They're asking, did they take the chopsticks off the 39A tower? Alex, I'm pretty sure they left them up, but there's been some scaffolding around them for quite some time.
Yeah, once they were installed in January 2023, they have not taken them down. They just done a lot of modifications in place. And yeah, until recently, until like September, October, they were full of scaffolding everywhere. And then they removed the scaffolding, and there's still a little bit on the carriage system, but there's considerably less than before. So maybe all of that work is already done. Yep.
And we have Paul, who says, I live in Port St. John by the Indian River and can easily see the vehicle assembly building. Will the new SpaceX Gigababy is visible when completed? I'll throw that to, I think yes, but D, what do you think?
I would say yes, and I'll also say stay tuned to Julia on socials. She started taking photos from across, I'm not sure exactly where, but along sort of A1A of the Gigabay construction as it has cleared the tree lines, and it is only going to get more and more visible. The VAB is, I'd say, positioned a little bit farther towards the coast. So there's a little bit more distance potentially, depending on where exactly you are on the mainland. But it will be a very, very visible structure, that whole area. And just keep an eye on it with all of our 24/7 streams and, of course, our Space Coast update and flyovers, because we're just going to see that structure grow and grow.
And talking about structures growing, Rumba Tap Row is asking, do you think they'll attempt to lift the OLM today? Alex, do we know, or do you think they might leave it a couple of days like they did at Starbase?
I think it might be a couple of days. They still, I have not seen at the very least. There's these two beams that they have to install across the legs of the launch mount that they were installed at Pad 2. I don't know if they are super necessary, but they might be. And I don't even know if we'll see them because, you know, of the tree line, the 39A ramp and things like that. It's going to be very complicated, but I've not seen like a crane actually going up and sort of lowering it onto the flame trench. Maybe sort of later this week might happen. I have no idea, to be honest, but definitely not right away. I wouldn't expect that to happen today.
I have bad breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because we are in to endure an Alex answer. Because first of all, Revhead has done 2 £5 super chats. Apocalypse Cow has done a $5 super chat saying got to get that goal over the line, and then Mark did one more. So unfortunately, that means the goal has been achieved, and we need to find something for Alex to provide an Alex answer on, which means we are going to be live until they lift the launch mount.
Can you not?
Let's find if you've got a good question at NASASpaceflight at NSF, and I'll toss it over to Alex, and we can get promised. We can get him the promised Alex answer. That,
you know what we could do?
Our wonderful audience deserves.
You know what we do usually when we cover things at the Kennedy Space Center? At the end?
What do we do?
Oh, come on. Jay, what do we do? Say it in the back channel. Everybody that has seen launches from us, from the Cape, what do we do towards the end of the stream?
Replays?
Slow-mo replays?
Of course, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Well, slow. I mean, it was already slow, I guess.
If you want, I can start working on a slow-mo replay of it rolling by the VAB.
Yeah, we'll be here for the next 4 hours.
Let's go.
All right, I'll start working on that, and I'll get that to Jay.
But yeah, I don't know, like maybe people are arriving late or something. That could be a way to fill out the long answer. You want a long answer? I'll give you the long answer.
okay, we've got a juicy question from Marco. How will they deal with hot staging now they can't bracket, or at least didn't mention or showed bracket, modify the hot staging ring to get an intentional oriented flip?
Yeah, I feel
Alex, go.
this is the thing that a lot of people have missed in the chaos of Flight 9. When they explained this, they were very clear to say that this is sort of like a stopgap for version 2 boosters, and that version 3 boosters, they will do a whole different thing in order for them to be able to flip in a controlled manner. So the reason why for the first 7 hot stagings, I say that because it was up to Flight 8, but Flight 1 did not do hot staging anyways. So flights 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, those had hot staging, and the booster flipped randomly. And the whole reason for that is because the second stage, the ship, when it lights up the engines, it hits the booster, and the booster it sort of recoils back, right? But the way that recoil happens, that pushback happens, depends on that thrust of the engines from the ship, right? Now, even if you try to always start the engines at the same time or with the same timings, it can still be a little bit off, right? It can still be randomly just because one engine is a little bit slower than the other, etc., etc. It can be a little bit off. So that meant that the way that the booster was pushed back was sort of random and down to the conditions of that specific flight. I remember, as we were seeing multiple flights and the booster was flipping one way or the other, we were like, oh, they're testing a flip in this way. They're testing a flip in this other way. And then SpaceX said, no, you know what? That was all randomly. So yeah. And so what they did was, instead of having that, if you were to do like a random distribution in a circle, and then you were to have those vents, one of those vents sort of shut off, then instead of being all uniform, now they are skewed to one side rather than the other. So what that blockage in the hot staging ring did was have the hot staging effect, that push from the engines on the ship, be directed in one single direction, in one single known direction, which is very important. Every single time they did hot staging, the booster will be pushed always in the same direction, so that allowed them to be able to sort of flip back and be able to do that. So what are they going to be doing for version 3? They will not need any of that. Instead, they're going to be doing on purpose that imbalance of the thrust, right? Instead of being random, it's going to be on purpose so that the booster flips back with that recoil, that pushback of the exhaust, and so that it is able to flip back in a very well known direction. The reason why they want that is because if you just flip in whatever direction, some directions are positive, are really good for you to be able to efficiently go back to land, but sometimes the push will actually make you have to do like a 180 or like 270 degree turn, or some weird turn in general that has you doing more work, right? And so you need to reserve more propellant on the booster, because remember, 3 of those engines are still lit up when hot staging occurs. So the more that they are burning, the more propellant that you need, and therefore the more that you have to reserve ahead of hot staging. If instead of that, you know where it's going to go, then you don't need to reserve that propellant, and you can use it on the ascent portion. The ship gets more energy, and therefore it needs fewer propellant to be able to go into orbit, etc., etc. That means more payload that it can carry. So that's the whole reason why, and how they're going to be doing it is just, they're going to control the exhaust of the ship instead of having that little piece of the hot staging ring closed. There. Was that long enough? Is everybody happy now?
4 minutes on the dot.
Well,
you started that answer at 12:41:51 Eastern Standard Time, and you concluded it at 12:45:51 Eastern Standard Time.
Alex is not human.
oh, there you go.
And that answer was so long that you've been rewarded by Russell Snodgrass, who has done a $100 super chat.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Russell does these huge super chats like so often, and it's absolutely bonkers support. So thank you so much again. Like Bideford, Russell, you know how much this stuff means to us. So thank you so much for your support. But I'll say it again. Russell is asking, what will it take when they will achieve human rating for Starship? I'm looking forward to humans departing from Kennedy on Starship. I think it's going to... Alex, I'll throw this one to you again. You can do another Alex answer, why not? It's going to take a lot because unlike Dragon, they're not designing like a launch abort system, so they're going to have to make sure that Starship is really, 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 really reliable to launch humans on it.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while. Let's put it that way, right? It's gonna be a bit until they launch humans on Starship. I do think we're gonna see people inside Starship while in orbit, because that's the whole purpose of HLS, right? For example. But launching from the ground on Starship and then also landing to the ground on Starship, whew, boy, that's some interesting dynamics, I should say.
Indeed. Let's have a look through here. What else have we got to talk about? Terrence is asking, looking at going to Florida and the Kennedy Space Center in 2027, what are the odds of seeing a Starship launch? Max, I'll throw this one to you. I'd say there's probably a 99% chance of seeing a Falcon 9 launch unless you arrive during a hurricane. What do you think of the chances of seeing a Starship launch in 2 years or 1.5 years' time? What do you think the cadence is going to be like?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Even now, if you just come for 4, 5, 6, 7 days, or even more, your odds of seeing a singular Falcon 9 launch are pretty high, considering how often they launch different Starlink missions. In terms of the Starship cadence, in maybe a year and a half, 2 years. Honestly, I'm having a tough time saying. I think it's going to be a lot like planning for a Starbase trip now. I mean, if not, maybe when they're launching once every couple of months regularly. I think that'll be what it's like coming here in Florida in a couple of years. I would love to see it higher. I really would. So your odds aren't nearly as high as seeing a Falcon 9, but obviously they're not zero. But if you are aiming to see a Starship launch from here, to this point, it has proven to be a pretty reliable launch vehicle in terms of when it launches. In relation to when SpaceX wants it to launch, it has only scrubbed, I think, 2 or 3 times at this point. And so that's a pretty good track record. So I think depending on how you want to plan your trip, I think your odds are pretty good. But obviously, it is not nearly as high as seeing a Falcon 9.
NSF not responsible, blah, 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 blah. Terms and conditions apply, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It'll depend when you go out there. Of course, if you go when a Starship launch is planned, you probably have a higher chance.
I'm sure the people behind who run the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex are going to be very happy to be able to put out launch viewing tickets for the first Starship launch from the Cape, because I'm sure that's going to be
breaking news.
What is the breaking news?
Did you push the wrong button?
Oh, there's a Gigabase section apparently being lifted right now. I can't see it. Where is it?
You need to do some illustration here, Jay.
Yeah, it looks the same as it did like the last time we showed it. I can't see it.
I'm blind.
Yeah. And you know,
it's a tiny bit on the left. It's just like a tiny little bit. Yeah, a little piece there. It's okay. It's not like they're gonna build this thing in an hour. I wish it was built in an hour, but yeah, this is gonna take like a good year or so until it's built. Yeah.
Not with that attitude, sir.
Hey.
Anyways, I mean, we can just look at the Gigabay if you want. It's pretty cool. Seeing it
Somebody in
built.
chat, breaking news. That was the wrong button.
Yeah, breaking news. We used the breaking news button by accident. Ah. Oh, we've got a question here from Pauline. They're asking, how come we're streaming the Ariane 6 launch, assuming you don't have anyone out there? Well, thanks to Arianespace, they're actually providing us with the special feeds. So, you know, just I'll tease it. I won't leak it, but I'll tease it. You know, we don't like to just. What
I
was
thought we were sending Maxime Vans. to French Guiana.
Yeah, we're sending Max's French cousin to French Guiana.
Yeah.
But
Decollage.
no, you know, we don't, you know, some channels just like restream all of the streams and stuff. We don't like doing that. We like doing it. We like, you know, putting our own spin on things, to put it that way. And yeah, Arianespace are providing us with a proper feed. So keep an eye out. Again, not going to leak it, but I'm going to tease it. And also, we're going to have the live stream debut of a brand new NSF commentator. So if that's not something to tune in for, I don't know what is. I think that's live in just over a couple hours' time. Excuse me. So yeah, make sure to go set your notifications. Put my teeth back in for that stream there as well. I've been informed in the back channel that D's fast mo, not slow mo, fast mo replay is en route. So we will stand by for the fast mo replay of the OLM rollout. Let's have a look through here. Oh, we've got Sard asking in chat. In 2018, did you expect Starlink to eventually hit the 10,000 satellite mark? Alex, did you expect them to hit? I mean, they kind of had to publish their plans beforehand, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think at the time we were only seeing like 4,400, the first constellation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I sort of expected that at some point they will be launching that many, just because they needed to refresh even just the first constellation. Like, that's the 10,000 satellite launched, not how many there are in orbit, which is different, because there's been like over 1,000 of them that have re-entered. Now, it is also true that they have two different constellations up there. So a bunch of the new ones have also been replacing the older satellites, and they have replenishing the second constellation. So yeah, it's that probably, you know, needs another 20-minute long answer or whatever. But yeah, it's a little bit more complicated. I would not say expected by now. I would have thought probably will have taken longer for them to launch 10,000 times, 10,000 of these Starlink satellites. But definitely, you know, quite surprising.
First of all, John is saying, get that fast mo warmed up for Glenny's liftoff. That was a quote, by the way. Of course, last time New Glenn took a little bit longer to get off the pad than maybe everyone was expecting. You know, when you have time to cut from a close-up camera to a wide camera and then go back in for another close pad camera, you know your rocket takes too long to lift off the pad. You know, just saying. Let's have a look. And we also have Trance. They're saying, just think how many thousands of miles the Earth has traveled through space whilst Alex was giving us his answer. That's brilliant.
Look,
and
look, I write most of the scripts nowadays, with some exceptions. So when you watch, for example, Starbase Update, you watch a really 20-minute long answer by me, I guess. Isn't that true? I mean, it is you, the one that does
sort
them,
of.
but
Yeah, but that's one of the great questions of our time.
I know you're gonna get very, very good at knowing the sequencing of stacking boosters and ships soon, because we're gonna talk so much about that. Because, you know, that they have like multiple ships and boosters already lined up to be stacked.
Indeed. We are still awaiting the Fastmo replay. It's still en route, so stay with us, stick with us. What do they say on the news? we'll have the report. We'll have the Fastmo replay coming up shortly. I'm gonna have a look through the queue again here. Have a look through. Have chat. VS is asking, is it? And they're specifically asking you, Alex. Is it possible to launch a booster from Starbase and catch it in Florida? I don't think so. I don't think it's powerful enough, or it's not got enough fuel. I don't know. Which one is it? Is it both?
Well, I mean, this could also be another long answer. So the
Here we go.
distance from the thing is the way to get really far away, it's you need to go very, very fast. And people don't conceive how fast you need to go really, really far. When Falcon 9 stages, right, when it's doing like a Starlink or a GTO mission or whatever, it usually stages roughly around 8,000 kilometers per hour. And that speed is, it gets you around 600 kilometers downrange, right? Now, if you look up the staging speed of the booster, it's about half of that. It's a little bit over half of that. But that is, of course, when launching a ship on top. If you were to not have a ship and instead have a nose cone, then what sort of speed do you need to get from Starbase all the way to the Cape? Well, you will need to go about twice as fast, maybe 2.5 times as fast, like close to. Let me do the math mentally because I need to do the actual math. Yeah, about twice. So you will need to get to 14,000, 15,000 kilometers per hour, more or less, to be able to reach 1,000 miles, which is the distance between Starbase and 39A or anywhere at the Space Coast. That is quite fast. That is about the same speed as the fastest reentry for any booster on the Falcon fleet, and that was on STP-2, which was a Falcon Heavy mission for the Center Core. The Center Core traveled about 1,500 kilometers, so almost 1,000 miles away. And let's say that it didn't have a good time doing that reentry. Now, you could use, because obviously the booster will not need to use the entirety of its fuel or oxygen to be able to do that long of a burn. But then you will need to have enough propellant, I guess, to be able to slow down enough to be able to survive the reentry. Like you will probably need to do a very long entry burn or something like that in order to survive. And after that, do you have enough fuel left to do the landing burn? That's a big question mark. I once did the math because I was a bit curious about that, and it's very marginal. It's pretty much non-existent. Like you're running on fumes after that entry burn, essentially. So you will have to push the booster quite a lot.
I actually stopped paying attention halfway through that answer, so I'm not sure how long it was, but it was long enough for me to get bored enough to.
I was also
Ouch.
trying to for us to get also the D fast mo, because it's not a slow mo, it's a fast mo.
See, the thing
I figured,
Oh, go on, D.
like, did it really make sense to do a slow-mo? Because I could have delivered y'all, like, what would that have been? 2 hours worth of slow-mo? But I figured we didn't want to be sitting around here for 2 hours to wrap. So this, I hope y'all enjoy.
Okay. Jake Higgin, the producer for today's stream, is saying we would love to. I'm not sure who we means, because I'm certainly not included in the we. I mean, if Jay wants to sit around and rewatch this thing for the next 2 hours, that's up to Jay.
Alex
It's
can
French
just
for
commentate
yes.
answers
It's
for
we.
the next 2 hours as the slow-mo would run.
He's just getting ready for the Ariane 6 launch. It's just yes in French. It's we. Right?
Wow. I think Ryan's filter is just expired, and he'll have to renew it before Ariane 6.
And on that utter bombshell, very quickly, whilst we have this view of 39A, Alex, in a brief answer, which I know is difficult for you, what are the next steps, including this crane that James is asking about? What are the next steps for the Starship launch mount at LC-39A?
Yeah, so that OLM will get ready in position for the lift. they'll attach that load spreader you can see there on the large ALR 13,000 crane out there at 39A, and then they'll lift it. Of course, we'll cover that on Space Coast Live, and we'll have many upcoming Space Coast updates with the the progress of that launch mount and all the work on that. And of course, there's a few launches coming up, right? There's the Atlas 5 and whatnot, but there's also another one from 39A. So hopefully we get a few views out there from the pad cameras. And yeah, so hopefully we get some of those views of the lift really soon, probably in the next couple of days. And we'll see what happens. But are we rolling now the Phasmo?
I'm just spamming in chat because, of course, later today we have Ariane 6 launch. So I've just spammed it in chat. Go click that link and go turn on notifications, and I will really appreciate it if you do, because we're kind of doing an experiment. We're going to see if anyone actually is interested in Ariane 6. So if you're interested, go click the link and watch the stream, please, and thank you. There we go. Anyways, in terms of Launch Complex 39A and its launch mount, that'll do us for today. First of all, in the field, Max, thank you very much for rolling out, as always, to see this monolithic structure roll down the road.
It has been a pleasure as always, everybody, and thank you very much for coming to hang out with us this morning and now afternoon. This was a big one, and we have been very anxious to share this with everyone for a while, and we're just grateful y'all showed up. So thank you very much, and we will hopefully see you again soon.
And of course, as well, to D Wise, also rolling out in the field. Thank you, D, for providing us with all of your cameras as usual.
Of course, this was a great hangout, and it's so exciting to see Starship really picking up here. Can't wait to see the next thing that we get to cover Starship related here at the Cape.
In the background, we also had Jay Keegan pushing all the buttons for us. Thank you, Jay, as I keep saying as usual, because, these people do stuff for us all the time. But thank you very much, Jay, for pushing the buttons. And alongside me as well, we, of course, had Alex. Thank you, Alex, for providing us with your 4-minute long answers.
It's always a pleasure, and hope to see you all on the Ariane 6 streams. I'm also going to be on that one.
Are you?
I think so. I mean, we're going to be you, I, and a new commentator. We'll
I didn't know
debut
you were
on
going to
that.
be on there. Okay, well, maybe if I
thought
knew
so,
you were going to
but
be on
okay.
there, I'm going to have to spend like 3 hours or 4 hours with you today. That's not what I expected when I woke up. Anyways, thank you, Alex, for being on the stream. My name's been Brian Cater. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, this stream is going to throw over to Space Coast Live. Go and click the link, set your notification for Ariane 6 later. And I think it's time to watch some Fastmo replay courtesy of DYs of the launch mount. So we'll see you next time, or we'll see you later today. See you later today. Bye bye, everybody.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
Chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers, fly! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.